Hello everyone. Today I will share with you the build of Seelah, which I consider to be the best for this character. To begin with, I would like to talk about possible approaches to building this character and why the proposed approach is the most powerful from my point of view. Seelah comes to us with the first level of Paladin, and we can build her in a variety of ways. Skulls, gendarmes, classic paladins, and many more will come out of it. This is my favorite character in terms of variation and power. Most of people make a support paladin out of Seelah, and while this approach is the most common, it's necessary to understand that we really need just such a character in the party. So, if you want to disperse the attack and damage on bosses for your ray casters, archers, or other melee-oriented party members, then this approach will be justified. However, if there is no such goal, but there is a goal to make Seelah the most powerful damage dealer in the party, then we probably won't need to develop a paladin at 11 or certain levels. If your main character wants to be a controller DC caster or be a support, or you just want another cool damage dealer, then you will need the build I propose that will open up most well for just such purposes. One of the most powerful melee damage dealers in Wrath of the Righteous is Sahei. There is a lot hidden in this monk archetype: the ability to fight on pet, an increased number of attacks, instant access to extremely powerful spirited charge, weapon training. All this can and should be used, and Seelah is just very well suited for this purpose. Therefore, our main class will be just Sahei. I always try to introduce builds based on their effectiveness, smooth development, and power. And this build has the same goal. If you develop Seelah according to the proposed option, you will have the most comfortable walkthrough. Therefore, it's important to follow the planned development path. At the second level of character development, we need to make a choice in favor of the animal we will use. There are two good opportunities here. The first is to select a ranger to access the hippogriff. This approach is suitable for you if you want an aggressive pet, which will not be so well protected, but will be able to immediately carry a rider as well as catch enemies on flat foot. However, keep in mind that the hippogriff has its own features that are often overlooked. So, it's necessary to take into account that rider on a hippogriff will never have a full attack without a pounce. That means, in order for the rider to be able to hit a full attack, we will need a party with a Skald. Before the Skald gets the opportunity to distribute pounces to entire party, the hippogriff rider will only hit one attack if you perform an attack in a flight, which severely limits the rider combat potential. Considering that the hippogriff itself does very little damage, I think that such a character will only be good in the first act, where he will show good results. But in the second act, several attacks by the rider will overcome most of the advantages of the hippogriff, and this tactic will not be the most effective. Therefore, the second option is to choose a dog as a pet. At the moment of the game, the dog is the most powerful pet. The thing is, not only does it have some of the highest stats among other animals, but it also has trip access as well as huge bonus to other party members when the enemy is prone. In order to take a dog, select the level of the Hunter Tandem Executioner. I think this is the best dip for this purpose. This is because this archetype will allow us to immediately use studied target ability, which will give 1 to accuracy and damage not only to the rider himself, but also to the animal. The animal will also receive a bonus to the physical characteristics, which will increase the defense or attack of the player's choice. Based on my experience, I can say that you will actively use the study target in all the battles of the first and second acts, and these small bonuses will bring you a lot of benefits. If you want to bet on dealing a little more damage or to the rider, then as an alternative to Hunter Tandem Executioner, you can choose just a basic Hunter. This will allow the animal to remain with a bonus to the physical characteristics, but will deprive the study target. On the other hand, the rider will be able to use Lead Blades spell from the Hunter's book, which will increase his damage in both battles. In normal battles, due to the duration of the spell, you will not use it, unlike studying target. After dipping Hunter Tandem Executioner, we take 4 levels of Sahei. At the third level of the character, choose Boon Companion. This is done so that our animal does not lag behind the character in the progression, which is especially important at the starting levels. Up to 9th level of the character, it's most profitable to run with the glaive. And at this point of the game, you will be able to use this Marching Terror from first boss of the prologue, Seelah, and then you will be able to use Dark Horn, which will be after a battle of Necromancer in Act 1. At the 7th level of a character, we take a dip into Hell Knight. The combination of 2 smites will allow you to dismantle any boss in the game. After that, we continue to take Sahei levels until we reach 11 levels in the class. We take Spirited Charge, Improved Initiative, later on Combat Reflexes, Weapon Proficiency for Fashar, Power Attack, Improved Critical, and we take a feat to handle Fashar at 7th level, just before getting Weapon Training. After receiving Weapon Training on the character, we buy gloves from Wilson Garms. This will give a good increase in attack for this stage of the game. From level 9, we can turn a Fenian into Fashar, or if there is absolutely nowhere to put the money, then we buy a Fashar from Voljiv. It's better to refrain from spending money and run with Fenian before the start of third act. If Fenian is busy, then we run with the glaive. In it, we buy the best Fashar, which will be used for almost the entire game. I'm talking about this one. And later in the game, we will have ability to use Bearer of Sorrow and then Rushlight. Bearer of Sorrow is available in Act 4 after we defeat all the mid-market encounter, but it have vicious ability which will damage the character that will use it. So it's not that good without some fast healing on the character. But nevertheless, this Fashar is really powerful. And in Act 5 we have the ability to find this one. And I want also to tell you about a bug with the Finian. It can be multiplied and used by the whole group. If you want to use this bug, then it can be reproduced as follows. We will need a turn-based battle mode. While in it, we give Finian to all party members in battle, and after the end of the battle, we see that the weapon has not disappeared. However, if you perform a save load, it will disappear and only the character who was last given it will remain. Back to the progression. At a certain level of a character, we will take indomitable mount feat. There is no special need to take it before. This feature is quite good for a pet character due to the fact that the mobility indicator is calculated not only by points invested, but also by bonuses from items, and this is quite good. For this feat, you can use some armor from Act 3. I'm talking mostly about this one. And later in Act 4, you can have you can buy Royal Messenger Chain Shirt, which will also increase mobility checks. And if you feel you can your pet struggling versus some spells, you can use it for to avoid spells. And at certain and 15 levels, we take those two strange feats. The feats by themselves is bad, but is needed to qualify for Stalwart Defender Prestige. On the 15th level of a character, we take one level of Paladin. At the 16th and 17th level, there is Prestige of Stalwart Defender. From 17th level, the pet will lag behind in progression. This will be until the Paladin reaches the 5th level in class. We need the Stalwart Defender's dip in order to get attack and damage bonus from him, as well as very rare slam attack. This prestige looks very good on Rider due to the fact that it does not restrict his movements, and you can safely turn on the stance without getting any disadvantages. Prestige also has an interesting bug. Contrary to the description of the stance ability, the character may be under the effect of rage, and this will not take him out of the stance and will not deprive him of the bonus. Therefore, we can use the scout without any restrictions. After the stance, there will be a fatigue. It can be removed by applying Pulse Hands, which will be available at Pulse 3rd level, the character's 18 level. We take Paladin up to 5 level in the class and end our progression. The Paladin is needed not only for progression of the animal, but also for smiting evil to have more damage on bosses, and there is also be access to first level spells in the book. And as for Mythic progression, the Mythic progression is quite simple, but there is interesting things about it. Here I take at third Mythic level Mythical Beast, and it is necessary in order to pass through the black water more comfortably. We take Master Shapeshifter late when we can already stably implement the combination of fighting aspect on the rider plus the legendary size on the animal. If the party have brown fur transmuter or alchemic, then this mythic can be taken earlier. And I show you how I build a pet. There is nothing special about a pet. I build it like a tank. It allows you to tank comfortably through the game. A fairly standard progression is shown here. Of the skills, the most important for pet is the use magic device for the ability to use scrolls. And as for using items at the end of the game, to be a tanky pet, you will be using something like this. Before these items will be available, you can use also this Hamlet of Camaraderie from Act 3 in Ariel's lab for a pet. And it have moral bonuses, so it will not stuck with Lizard's tail later. So we need to switch. And also we can use War Kilt of Sarenrae as a belt for a pet. And I think that's it for a pet. As for gear for our Seelah, we can use this one. This Hamlet is located in Blackwater and give additional attack, which is quite good for this type of a character. Trickster's Mask, Act 6 Cloak, and other items. So before we getting those items, we can use also Goggles of Piercing Gaze. This is Cape of Mortar is interesting on a pet when character levels is 20 because of teleporting ability. Also, we can use this belt. This armor in Act 1. Note that this is medium armor, so when our Sahei is above 6th level, it will not be profitable to use this because it will not allow to use our additional attacks for Sahei. And for that reason, these two armors is not the best for Sahei. But for other riders, these two armors is very good. And finally, I want to draw your attention to the fact that I have shown Seelah without a buffs. And without the buffs, as we can see, Seelah have 7, 8, 9 attacks. With haste, this will be 10 attacks. and that result is pretty good, I suppose. And the fact I have shown Seelah without buffs, this is done intentionally to create an adequate picture. Many authors distort information and show their builds with the maximum possible buffs, which in my opinion leads to a deliberate overestimation of the build value. As a rule, when playing a real game, those builds show from average to poor results. In the case of the demonstrated build, I guarantee that it will work at all stages of the game and perform at its best. Thank you for your attention and bye bye.